guys, it's Ann from Ann's Running Commentary. I'm coming to you today to tell you how much I hate cyclists. Okay, here's the thing. We all hate cyclists. We know you're riding down the road and they could be hugging that little white line because they're cyclists. They should be good at what they're doing. If they're good enough to be on the road, they should be good enough to hug that little white line. But no, instead they're 3 feet away from the curb and they're in our way. They make us go all the way over into the other lane to pass them, and that is a pain in my butt because sometimes I have to sit back there for minutes waiting for them, and it drives me nuts. The other thing is the shoulder. There's a shoulder a lot of the times, or there's a bike lane. Why aren't they riding there? And if you come right down to it, why aren't they on the B&A trail or one of the other bicycle trails around here? Why do they have to be where my car belongs? Roads are meant for cars, not bikes. All right, so I was being facetious. But the truth is, that is how I felt about bikes before I became a cyclist. And I know that that is the way a lot of drivers feel, and I understand it because all of that makes sense when you say it that way. But I want to tell you what's happening on the cyclist's end. There are things you don't see in your car. If you were to get out of your car and get on a bike or even walk down that same road, you would go, oh, gosh, I had no idea this is what the road was like outside of my car, because your car's big. It misses a lot of the stuff that's on the side of the road. So when I'm out there on my little bike, my little pretty pink bike, and I'm riding down that edge of the road, things come out of the woods. Sometimes it's a vine, sometimes it's a branch from a tree that hasn't been cut back yet. Sometimes there's just debris on the road that's been, slung over there by cars driving along. And just the littlest bit of debris on the road can really send me flying. Last year, one of my friends broke both of her arms going over the handlebars. So we know it's dangerous out there. We try to be careful. But the other thing is we try not to do anything that's going to surprise you as a driver, because you need to know what we're doing. So if we're already out there, we're not going to swerve out further. We're going to be able to swerve in if we need to, but we won't swerve out into traffic. If we're all the way on the edge, the only way we can go is towards traffic, and we'll scare you, we'll cause you to wreck, we'll cause you to swerve. We don't want to do any of those things, so that's why we don't do that. Now, why don't we use the shoulder? Well, much the same actually. Oftentimes the shoulders in particular, not bike lanes, but shoulders in particular have stuff poking out into them. Plus stuff is just blown over there. If you go down a shoulder, you would not believe the stuff that's on the side of the road. You could probably start a scrap heap from the stuff that's just on a mile stretch of road. But let's go to the bike trails or the bike lanes. On the bike lanes, they're wonderful if they lasted forever, but they don't. And oftentimes, in Maryland at least, they may go for half a mile and stop, and then go half a mile and stop, and go a quarter of a mile and stop, and you just don't know. So if you're a cyclist and you've done it for a while, you get used to what's there and you learn, okay, I can go over here a little bit, but I've got to get back out into traffic and I need to do it in a safe way. So sometimes we will be out in traffic and you won't realize that that lane is about to end, and that's why we're there, and it aggravates you, and I get that. But that's why we're there, because we, again, don't want to surprise you. We don't want to pop out at the very end and have you surprised, because we know that you're not paying attention to the bike lanes, because honestly, why would you? They're not your concern. So that's why we don't use the bike lanes all the time, because we know they're going to end. We do when we can, because we love bike lanes. They're wonderful. Put more out there and make them go forever. We would love that. Now, why am I on the road instead of the B&A trail? Because on the B&A trail, I can only go 15 miles an hour. If you're a runner, you know there are cyclists who come out there and they go 20 miles an hour down that thing, and they should not be doing that because it's dangerous to pedestrians. It is a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit on most bike trails across the country, and some of us, a lot of us, want to be faster than that. And so we have to go out on the road. And when we're on the road, we can go anywhere between 16 and 40 miles an hour, depending on whether we're going uphill or downhill. And you're going to be surprised by that. When you go to pass us, you won't know that we're going that fast. So do go all the way into that other lane. Do go all the way up and make sure you can see us in your rear view mirror before you come over. Because if you can't, there's a chance we're still beside you. You might not know exactly how fast we're going. And some of these guys here, we have some very fast guys in Annapolis Racing Club. We have some very fast cyclists. Please be careful. Please watch for us and know that we might surprise you even when we're not meaning to. Now, let's go back to why cyclists are buttheads, because sometimes they are. And sometimes there's no excuse for it, but I will say sometimes there is. We become jaded. The truth is, we put up with a lot of stuff. I would say that 90% of the drivers are awesome. 90% of the drivers give us room, 90% of the drivers try to pay attention to us, but there's that 10% that are more than butt heads that truthfully, I'm sorry about saying this, total jackasses. I have had guys come up behind me and right as they pass me, slam on their horn, just trying to scare me. And it's not a nice thing to do. It's dangerous for me, and then the truth is if I wrecked, it would be dangerous for them as well. I've also had people yell at me. I've had people pull in front of me and slow their car down to aggravate me because apparently I've aggravated them. And then last year I had a group of teenagers right down the road from my house as I'm cycling down the road here throw pennies out their window, out the car window at me. That is totally dangerous, and after a while you do become jaded. I've actually had a guy last year get out of the car. I was not doing anything wrong. I was right where I belonged. I was not even, the truth is I was probably too close to the edge. Still, he was aggravated that I was out there. He pulled his car up, got out of his car, and started screaming at me. We put up with a lot of stuff. We can't always be nice when we've put up with a lot of stuff. So if you see a rider being a butthead, understand that they're on the defensive. They probably have been through something. They've probably been really bothered by somebody and hurt, not hurt necessarily, but really bothered by somebody, and that's why they're being a butthead. So please give them a little bit of leeway there. That's all I have to say. I know we hate cyclists. Most of us do. My husband actually hated cyclists more than I did, even though I was a cyclist until last year when he started riding and he went, oh, I see these things that you were telling me about. So please do pay attention to us. Understand that we're not trying to be a pain in your butt. We're just trying to keep everybody safe. And if you have any questions, please get in touch with me. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. If you like what I have to say, let me know. If you hated what I have to say, let me know. Leave a comment below. Why do you hate cyclists? And maybe I have an answer for that. All right, thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.